Hey, Mr. Bloxham here, we're just going to cut some chicken up. And before I do that, I'm just going to do potatoes. So I cut it in half. I'm going to trim it off so it looks a more oval shape. And we're going to do something fancy with this. A roast potato, because some of my class wanted to make roast potatoes. But we're going to make it a little bit more fancy, so we're going to do a fancy shape. So I'm going to cut it down the middle. Spin it round. And I'm doing a 45-degree angle, so I'll take that little bit out. Same with this one. 45-degree angle. Then with the little knife now, you have to go into the middle. So you're going to go into the middle of it at an angle, about 45 degrees again, but on a slant, and cut 3 or 4 wedges out of it. Spin it round, and do the same. 1, 2, 3. So that's the potato. And as you can see that, hopefully you can see that on the camera. It looks like a leaf. So we're going to parboil that one. Just going to chuck it in the water that I've got over there. And this one I'm going to do as well. So in 2010, 2 boys, 2 year 9 boys, won £1,000. So this is one of the things they did. And I'm going to do the same chicken, a very similar chicken dish to they did as well. They did a chicken roulade, so it's a bit like a Swiss roll of chicken. Nice and colourful in the middle. They did this potato with it. They did some Mediterranean vegetables and honey and mustard sauce with it. Anyway, that goes in there. Put the lid on for a bit, just while I do the chicken. So before I do the chicken, now I'm going to cut this stuff up so I can move the bowl. So I need a little bit of red pepper for the chicken. So cutting a little bit of this out. Cut it in half. This is going to be my rubbish bowl here. So the first question that you need to answer is, when handling raw meat, why do we have a sink of hot soapy water before you start? So basically, when I get all dirty hands in a minute, I can put them straight in the water without touching the tap. So I'm going to trim the ends off so it's a bit flatter. Then I'm going to do it reasonably fine, so I can push it flat and do it reasonably small. So you don't have to cut it through the middle to sit like julienne. It's a bit bigger than julienne. Normally, when the boys won the £1,000, I got them to do green, yellow and red pepper. But in the middle, I'm going to put a bit of spinach in this one to make it green, and I've got some sun-dried tomato as well. So this is what's, and I've got, oh, and what the one reason they won was, you had, for this competition, you had to do something that was locally sourced is one of the things. Well, all had to be locally sourced, but you had to write about one of them. And I got them to grow some basil, and by the time they went up, normally you get a little plant like this, if not even that big. Anyway, by the time they went up there, it was about this big, and we took the whole plant up there. It looked really good. So that's that. Now I've got a little bit of garlic, which I'm going to use for something else. Wash it, then the skin comes off. Yeah, and then we're just going to chop it up. So I'm not keen on the garlic brushes because they'll take ages to wash up. So unless you're doing a lot, they're not really worth it. A little bit of garlic, so this can either go in the chicken or on the potato. So one thing we're doing today, as well as showing you how to cut up the chicken is a bit bland by itself, so we're going to put loads of things in for flavour. So that's the first one. So we've got some garlic, some red pepper, and a little bit of chilli, but not too much because we've got some different chilies here. Seeing we've got red pepper, I'm just going to put a little bit of green chilli in, but really small. 1 chilli will be plenty. This might make it even too hot, I'm not sure, but I'm going to put the whole chilli in, so I'm going to cut that quite small. And then this one here, we've got some sun-dried tomatoes, but now I've got some unusual things here, which you probably don't know what they are. These are little flowers, believe it or not. They're pickled flowers, and they're a thing called capers. So you've probably never heard of them, even though you've had them lots before, or you may have. They go in tartar sauce. So the 2 things in tartar sauce are capers and gherkins chopped up. There's some other people put dill in it and some red pepper, but that's the 2 main things. And I'm going to stuff 1 chicken breast with a thing called anchovies, which are fish. And this is a well-known dish, you might not have heard of it, but it makes a tapenade. So I'm going to put that in the middle. My son loves anchovies, so I'm not going to tell him what's in this. And when he eats it, I'm going to see afterwards and tell him, but he loves anchovies, so he should like this. I've made him the other one before, but I've never made him this before. So this is our tea tonight. And you can actually, rather than do that, you can actually mash it like in a food blender, but I'm just going to chop it up. So that's the 2 done. That's the main thing I'm stuffing it with. Now I'm going to quickly wash my hands because I've got some, this on there. So now, the chicken, before I cut up the chicken, I'm just going to use these 4 to wrap it in. and I'm going to cut the chicken up for some risotto. So I'm also making risotto, which is an Italian rice dish, and it normally has lots of things to flavour it. So you have to count how many I'm putting in there, because this is one of the questions further down in the boxes. So I'm going to put some bacon in. So that's going to go in the small one. The potatoes parboiling. By the time I've cut the chicken up, I'm going to be alright to use that. So before I cut the chicken, I'm going to put that on the tin foil and out of the way. So this chicken is quite a big chicken. I think it's about a 2 kilo chicken. So it's slightly bigger than normal. So it's quite a largish chicken. So I'm going to chuck that in straight in the bin. And then I'm going to put it, once I've cut it in here. So first thing first, I'll move that out of the way so you can see it. I'm going to cut down here. This is a lot harder than it looks. This is one thing you're going to be doing. So cut through here. So now I've cut through all the skin and flesh. And I can move it round and I can just cut straight through. There's no bone there now. You see there's no bone there to contend with in here. So that's the one done. Now I can cut off any excess skin. I'm going to keep the skin because I'm going to do a thing called southern fried chicken, a bit like Kentucky fried. So now I've got the whole leg. So I cut the leg into 2 bits, which is the drumstick and the thigh. That's one of the questions. Let me go through the other ones first. Where should raw meat be stored in the fridge? That should be at the bottom, because if I put this in the fridge at the top, it could drip on the cooked food. So that should definitely be cooked on the bottom, or stored on the bottom and wrapped up. And that's why I put it in the tray. So if I put it in the fridge to defrost it or something, I put it in the tray. What colour chopping board? Red chopping board. Now how heavy are the chicken breasts? We're going to find that out in a minute. So one of the questions, the 2 pieces of the number 5 is, what are the 2 pieces of chicken leg cord? So that's the thigh and the drumstick. So I'm going to show you those in a minute. So you can do, this works out a lot cheaper than just buying the breast and everything. Here's the leg, so I'll just cut them there. You need to know exactly where to cut it, otherwise it doesn't cut. That's a lot harder than it looks, as you'll find out when we do this, when you've all come back. So these are going to go on here. So I've got two drums, 2 thighs. Now we have to take the wings off first, or the thighs. So I'm going to keep one wing off. There's not much on this little bit here, so I just take that straight off. Now, if you know where the ball and socket joint is, you can go straight through it. It's a lot harder than it looks, but you're a bit of practice, guys. Through here, cut through here. So that's the rubbish. Really don't want that. And then I'm going to cut the breasts off. There's still 2 wings on here, but I'll take them off in a minute. So we cut down one side of the breast, either side, and we have to cut through the wishbone. So I cut through the wishbone here. I don't know if you heard it. Then I keep it. It's a bit like filleting a fish now. I'm trying to keep it close to the bone. Now I put the cooker on and I put the oil on, so because I'm going to be